just well, I thought this show that just can't get any better and better and better. Hey everyone, Kyle once again. It's welcome back to the next episode review for Spy Family episode 16. It was, yeah, 16, and the fact that this episode, with just whole thing with. I know I said which was my favorite this year, this or Chainsaw Family. Chainsaw Family, I guess if it was Spy Family. Spy Family or Chainsaw Man. I would still say with this episode, I think it's Spy Family still. I think this one's still my favorite anime of this year, Spy Family, and with this episode, with Yor, just trying to learn how to cook, right? It's had me just laugh, busting a gut, I mean, originally, that Lloyd, he's getting a little suspicious, how Yor's coming home late, see that her hands have bandages and cuts on them, looking like sort of like depressed or like the sort of evil look she has, and Anya, and but the thing is, like, she's been secretly trying to learn how to cook, right? She's been learning, she's trying to learn from her coworker Camilla, the woman from the second episode of the series, when she was at that party tried to with her boyfriend when she said husband, right? And she's the one that really just tried to spill the hot food, and when you are cut the whole tray of food with her leg. Yeah, so that blonde woman, yeah, that was kind of treating her like crap, at the start of the series, right? Here, I guess you can see she kind of deems herself from being being bitchy, basically, and she allows her to come to her house, and which is funny that Yor's carrying a bag, which it seemed like it looks like it's full of blood, right? But it turns out it was actually just tomatoes that were crushed, and just she wants to learn how to cook, because how to provide better meals for the family, and especially she says, "Oh, why? Because I don't want to get divorced," and just how when she starts cooking, because since she's an assassin, though, just her cooking skills are just off the wall, right? Like, she's like chopping everything to pieces. She even cuts the whole cutting board as well. It's like, you don't chop this. You're chopping way too small. You're got this and that, With Camilla just like watching, hey. And when she cooks, and also on top of that, her brother Yuri comes over, for another taste tester, right? And he doesn't like the fact that when Camilla was talking down to her sister, because how much Yuri loves her sister so much, just admires her, looks up to her, and but with the point when they brought up about the divorce, right? Yor bring up how she doesn't want to get divorced, and yours is like in his mind is like, yeah, divorce please, because how his conversation was with Lloyd when he got drunk and all that stuff, and just. Yeah, he's like, yeah, divorce, please. And he looks like Yuri. This is another great character, and when she finally completes this dish, it was like it looks like it's poisonous. And Yuri tastes it first, and he loves it, but the thing is, he's spitting it out and loving it, and spitting it out, loving it, and spitting it out. And when Camilla and the other guy, who's kind of like her boyfriend as well. They taste it. They just drop dead to the floor. they just drop dead to the floor, and then they try making a meatball. It turns out the same freaking way. They taste it. They just drop dead to the floor, and just when in Yuri, he's like, "Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it." And he spits. He's loving it, and spitting it out, eating it, spitting it out, saying he loves it. Just like, and Camilla, she says like, "Is there anything that you do?" Because you realize that it was only those two without no parents, right? And so even Yuri's been doing the same thing, eating and spitting it out the food, loving it and spitting out the food when he was a kid too, since because they had no parents around. So Camilla's asking, is there anything that your mom did that was really good, And it was this stew, with a fried egg, and so she calms herself down and just tried to remember how it was done, and turns out she made a delicious stew, and this time Camilla and her boyfriend really liked it, and Yuri too, you know. And Yor was so very happy, you know, and just gave her a confidence boost. So, and when she leaves, you know, Camilla, she's like, her boyfriend is like, you know, you are adorable, you know. It's just, she's like turning red and all that. So yeah, in this episode, you know, like the character, that coworker Camilla, you know, how she was bitchy when he was treating Yor at the start of the series, you know. Here she's kind of like, you know, is basically like kind of like not that no more, you know, which is nice. And then when she comes back home, you know, and because also thing is, I mentioned the Bond, the dog Bond, he had a vision that he had a future vision that Yor was like this, you know, looking all upset, crying, you know. But it turns out in this vision, when Yor comes home and cooks that same stew for Lloyd and for Anya, which they're very skeptical on, because they tasted our cooking before, and Lloyd's like, is looking at it with a disgust look, and Anya's like, this is the Last Supper. And when they taste it, it's very delicious. They really enjoyed it. And that vision that Bond had of her like this crying, it was because it was like tears of joy, because they enjoyed her cooking. So once again, like how the vision, the way the vision goes, make kind of like how this vision's gonna end, right? Anya saw that vision, looked like it was kind of a sad, tragic, right? But it turns out it was a happy vision, because she was like that because they enjoyed the dinner that she made. And then when she brings the dessert that she made herself, they both, Anya and Lloyd, they just drop dead after eating that dessert, just because it was so terrible. This episode has to be one of the funniest ones I've seen from the show. I mean, just the fact that she's trying her damnedest, you know, to be a good housewife and a mother, a husband, and all that, for trying to cook, you know, for the dinner, you know, for the family. I mean, it's hilarious because she can't cook, but she's an assassin, so all of her fast knifing skills, just like basically cutting everything, even including the cutting board. So, but it was really nice, really good moment for a character episode for Yor. And then we get this little side plot of this episode where with Frankie, you know, who works with Lloyd, you know, like giving him information on other people, right? Well, he was asking for Lloyd for advice, you know, because he wants to go on a date with this girl, right? He goes like to this cigar shop he goes to with this girl, works there, and he really wants to go on a date with her, and so he's asking Lloyd for advice, you know. And even the point where Lloyd dresses up, disguises himself as the woman, you know, for conversation, you know, trying to have conversation, as if he was on the date with the girl, you know. So Frankie goes in there confidently, you know, and but the thing is, sadly though, it doesn't end good, you know. He failed basically, and he's at the bar with Lloyd, you know, and you get this nice conversation where, you know, because since they're both in this whole spy job, right, they just can't have relationships though. But the thing is, though, it kind of ponders on Lloyd because he's grown so much to Yor and Anya, though, so he's kind of having his own doubts on that now, because they're both in this spy business. They can't have these normal relationships or go on dates and all that stuff. But the thing is, though, his mind has been wandering, kind of like having, not second thoughts, though, but it's like, his real feelings, you can say, has been just getting in the way, because he's been grown to love this family so much, you know. And then also the point I also forgot to mention were because I forgot to mention the two other things that where Lloyd is teaching Bond how to sit, you know, hold it and then wait to eat, and he does. Or the point where even Anya, when they were outside and when we saw Frankie when he failed on his attempt on a date, right? I like how she goes and crosses, like she looks both ways and crosses the street, you know, because the little attention to detail, how Anya, you know, basically in an orphanage with nothing, and how much she learns so much, you know. So I like those little attentions to details, you know, how she just, without being asked anything, she just looks both ways across the street, you know. So I like those little attentions to details on those. So yeah, but Spy Family, I would say, yeah, this is definitely the favorite, well, my favorite anime of this year. I was saying which one's better, this or Chainsaw Man. I'm sticking to my guns on this. It's Spy Family, hands down. The series so much, you know. So, but Chainsaw Man has been really fun. A blast so far to watch. And the other ones I've enjoyed this year, you know, just from My Dress Up Darling to Raising Hero, the Genius Princess Guide to Raise a Nation Out of Debt, and then from even the last half of the second season of Yashahime, I enjoyed that. The recently Reincarnated as a Sword, I've been having so much fun with. And just a whole bunch of animes I've been watching this year, you know, and or with Anya-san or Shikimori, which I forgot to mention. I apologize in advance if I didn't bring it up before. I never got the chance to finish. Shikimori is not just a cutie, you know. I never got a chance to finish that series, so I do apologize. If anyone ever noticed while I was reviewing that series and didn't review the last couple episodes, I do apologize for that, though. Because I never brought that up that I didn't finish it. But there's plenty of other animes I've enjoyed this year, you know. So, but it's easily, hands down, the best anime of this year is easily Spy Family. But I love our characters, and this episode was one of the funniest ones. Just seeing how Yor, she's trying to learn how to cook, she's doing her best and failed until finally she did make one that was right. And then at the end, she just made a dessert and just made Loi and Anya drop dead, you know, from eating it. But yeah, this was another fantastic episode. I really, once again, 10 out of 10 already. And it's nice seeing Yuri because, you know, the whole thing with how just he's eating it but spitting the food out. Or when he brings up the name of divorce, you know, he gets all happy about it because he doesn't want to be with her, his big sister, to be with Lloyd. So, but yeah, this has been a 10 out of 10 episode. So, yeah, but once again, love Spy Family. So that's review for episode 16. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode review and more for Halloween month movie reviews. And we'll see you next time. Later.